What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged Review. First, I have to apologize about the scenery. I'm in a hotel right now, and I can't get the lighting very good on this. It is what it is. So, as most of you know by now, I have had another trip to the hospital, and this time a pretty big one. So, I'm running a little bit late with a couple of reviews that I wanted to do. This one I really wanted to get in early, but life happens. I was really excited about this though, man. As a wrestling fan, as somebody who loved the Monday Night Wars, really the best time in wrestling in my opinion. I was really interested to see what AEW could pull off. And if they could pull off not only a good show, but a show that truly might be some competition for WWE. Everybody's saying they don't want to compete, but let's be honest, it's competition. And so I was really excited. You know, I had my hopes up high. They got a lot of big names. Some people I'm familiar with. Honestly, most of them I was not familiar with. There were a lot of wrestlers, a lot of names that I was not familiar with at all. And in a way, that's very cool. In a way, you know, it takes some time. There's an adjustment period. But that's fine, because we got nothing but time. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the review for AEW Double or Nothing. All Elite Wrestling. First of all, let me say that it was really great to see Jim Ross back in the commentary booth. Jim Ross is a voice that I think is synonymous with wrestling. And, you know, this wasn't his work back 20 years ago, but it was, I mean, for me, the nostalgia alone was worth it. So, you start out with a 20-man casino battle royal. A lot of names that, again, I am not familiar with. People in the indie scene. I really haven't paid attention to a lot of that. And so there were some things that definitely grabbed my attention. I'll start with the winner is Adam Page, Hangman, Adam Page. And that was a cool choice. I'm somewhat familiar with him. I've seen a little bit of his work, not a whole lot. Luchasaurus is somebody I'd never heard of, and he had a couple of great spots in this Battle Royal. One thing I really want to say about the Battle Royal itself, though, is, like, they designed this very, very well. When they had guest appearances, they felt like guest appearances. They felt like people that, you know, maybe you'd like to see actually show up in a ring and maybe do a little bit. Like they had Glacier, they had Tommy Dreamer in there. And it worked because when I have to make the comparison to WWE, when they do their Royal Rumbles, a lot of them, as of late, their guest appearances have not been guest appearances. You're sitting there shaking your head like, why are you adding these absolute no-name, who gives a shit people? It just takes away from the Royal Rumble. And so I really liked the way this was structured. So yeah, the winner is Adam Page. They had some really good spots throughout this. It was a lot of fun to watch. The next match they have, this is still part of their pre-show. And they only had the two matches on the pre-show, but it was Kipsapien versus Sammy Guevara. I hope I'm saying that right. And never seen either one of these two guys before. Didn't know what to expect. Lucha style, very high-paced, high-flying. Really good match. Like, they did some crazy shit in this match, honestly. The athleticism really blew me away. So obviously I'm taking note of two guys that I'd never heard of before right away, because they killed it. They really did. As a matter of fact, I wrote in my notes, crazy athleticism, and there was a spot where Kipsapien does a shooting star press from the outside of the ring, like standing on the ring, to Sammy, who was draped over the barricade. Really good spot, man. Like, you had to have some really good direction there, and it was very, very cool. So the main show starts. You get a welcome from Cody and Brandy Rhodes. You have the Young Bucks come out and Kenny Omega. And so they're all introducing everybody to AEW Double or Nothing. They're welcoming everybody. They're saying it's a revolution. Of course, they take a couple of shots at WWE, talking about filling seats. And I think they said like 21,000 or something. It's like, but this arena only seats like 13,000. And he's like, oh, it must be the inflated, taking shots, which it was funny. Let's be honest. It was great. So the first match is a 6-man tag match, and it's SoCal Uncensored, which consists of Christopher Daniels, who I absolutely love. I've watched him since his earlier TNA days. Very, very good wrestler. Got just an amazing moveset. Kazarian, who I'm also a big fan of, and Scorpio Sky, who I'm not familiar with at all. And they were taking on the Strong Hearts, Seema, T-Hawk, and Lindemann. Not familiar with those three at all. Very good match. Again, highly athletic and a much different style of wrestling, I think, than you typically see in WWE or even WCW back in the day. They're bringing a lot of international influence to a lot of these matches, which does give it a different feel. They are definitely doing something different with this. And this match really showcased a lot of highly athletic moves, but just a different mindset for like match structure, I think, too. So very, very good match. I was super impressed with it. At the end of the day, SoCal Uncensored win. Christopher Daniels, Frank Kazarian, Scorpio Sky. And they are the big names in the ring at that point, I think. I think a lot more people are familiar with Christopher Daniels, at least, because, he's just damn good. And I would have to say the same for Kazarian. So after that, you get women's match, Kylie Rae, Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, and this is supposed to be a triple threat. Then Brandy Rose, before the match starts, comes out in a ring gear down the ramp, stops, and says, I want this match to be awesome. And then Awesome Kong, who WWE fans would know as Karma, comes out. And so now it's a fatal 4-way. And it was a really good match. And they did all the spots that you would think they would do with Kong. She's much bigger than any of the other girls there. And, so they played up the power game. And Nyla Rose is kind of a big girl herself. So there was a spot where Kong got put outside the ring. And then Nyla Rose kind of speared her into the steps. And that left Kylie Rae and Britt Baker. And I gotta say, the girls really went at it. I think that would go without saying, but I think in a different way here. Like, they were pulling off moves that I don't think I've seen from the women in WWE do. And so that really says something. That like torture rack into the neck breaker thing that Britt Baker did. I don't know what it's called, but it was really cool. It was really, really good. And at the end of the day, Britt Baker gets the win. So can't be mad about that. I'm familiar with Britt Baker a little bit. Yeah, I've seen her in, her indie days. And so it was a good match, though. It really was a good match. Then you get the best friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta versus Angelico and Jack Evans. I didn't know what to expect, especially with Angelico and Jack Evans kind of dressed up the way they were. It kind of reminded me, not necessarily of like the Killer Bees, but kind of the colors like that, and just reminded me of like old school comic style characters. But when the match started, holy shit, highly athletic, very, very good. And I keep saying that like about each of these matches, but that's because they all were. Like, these guys were pulling off moves that really sold a match. I mean, it wasn't just fast-paced and crazy athleticism, but there was honestly good storytelling in some of these matches. I mean, it was the way the matches were structured was really good. It just worked. Every match in here so far has been like damn good. So at the end of the day, the winners are best friends Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. I don't really know any of these guys well enough to be like, I have a horse in this race, or I think these guys are the better workers, or the better promo guys, or whatever. A lot of new faces here for me. So after that, you get, I'm going to try to get all these names right, give me a chance here. Hikaru Shida, Ryu, and Ryo Mizunami. And they were taking on Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, and Emi Sakura. So obviously all Japanese ladies that apparently were found by Kenny Omega, probably from his time, working in New Japan. And so they brought these girls over, and I have to say that for me, this was probably the weak point of the card, only because it was such stiff competition all the way around. These matches were so damn good, and this was a good match. Like, it really was. I did not dislike this match at all. I think I had some really good spots. They did some really cool stuff, and let me find the names again. Aja Kong, Yuka Sugazaki, and Emi Sakura. Two of those girls were pretty good sized girls, and one of them could really move around, was doing moonsaults and shit. So, I mean, I was still pretty impressed with the match. Just saying it was probably the weakest point on the card, only because every other match it was just like crazy spectacle or damn good story, or both. I was completely unfamiliar with any of these ladies in the ring, and they all did really, really good. Like, there was nothing that I could say to discredit anything. So I'm just saying it's only the weakest match on the card for me personally, because everything else was so damn good. At the end of the day, Hikaru Shida, Riho, and Ryo Mizunami, I hope I'm getting some of that stuff right and not butchering it. They took the win. Good match. So there you go. After that, you have Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. And this was just damn good. It really was. Like, I've known for a long time that Dustin Rhodes is underrated as a wrestler. The guy is really ageless in a lot of ways. He goes out there and he's killed it in WWE. He's killed it in WCW. So yes, he's like 50 years old now, but I knew he was going to kill it. You start out with Cody Rhodes coming down. He's got like a Triple H-esque throne, like, all the thrones that Triple H had come down at like WrestleMania entrances. So he walks past that. Brandy pulls out a sledgehammer. Cody walks back up the ramp with the sledgehammer, busts up the throne. So there's a nice shot at Triple H there. After that, you get a damn good match. You really do. There was a point in the match where Brandy gets involved and she hits Dustin in the head with something and he gets busted open bad. And I think there was cutting involved here. I think this is, the very old school, we want to use some color in this match. Well, there was a lot of color. Dustin was bleeding like crazy. Like, his whole face was covered, and really everywhere. I mean, it went well past his face. He was just leaking all over. But it added something really good to the story because, Cody Rhodes was playing on that and going for that open wound, and it really did sell the match. There was a lot of reversals, a lot of really good storytelling in this match. This was a match that was very old school. We want to sell people on what we're doing here. And it damn sure worked. It really did. At the end of the day, Cody Rhodes hits Crossroads, gets the win. But then he announces Cody and Dustin. He wants Apparently he can pick any partner he wants to face the Young Bucks next month. And I'm assuming this is going to be for All Out. And so it's going to be Cody and Dustin. They kind of, mended at the end of the match. And that's going to be a match for next month, Cody and Dustin versus Young Bucks. So that was cool. And it was a very good moment, honestly. It really was. After that, Bret Hart comes out, unveils the AEW Championship belt. And he brought out Hangman Page. And then I don't know the names of a couple of the guys that came out yet. There was a big, kind of argument, fiasco. And then at the end, Bret Hart pulls out the belt, shows everybody, and it really is cool. It's kind of a throwback in a way, but like an updated version. So yeah, very cool moment. Then you get the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix versus the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson. Nick and Matt Jackson are very, very good in the ring, and this match really showed it. Again, a very good match, a very athletic match. Pulling off a lot of moves and a lot of stuff that I haven't seen before. One thing I did love was they did tandem sharpshooters, the Young Bucks on the Lucha Brothers. And when I say tandem, they were literally in sync with each other. So that was very, very cool to see. Looked very good. At the end of the day, the Young Bucks win. I'm familiar with the Young Bucks. I like the Young Bucks. I was not familiar with the Lucha Brothers, although they did impress the hell out of me. So it was everything I could have wanted from that match. Legit. It was just very, very good. That brings us to the main event, which is Chris Jericho, who I'm sure most people know if they know anything about wrestling. He was in WCW, big career in WWE, and lately he's been doing the independents in New Japan and stuff like that. He takes on Kenny Omega, who is probably the biggest name outside of WWE at this point. And very good match, very hard-hitting match. This one was a little bit more storytelling too, and I really liked that. But it wasn't just storytelling like this. They made it feel like a fight. They made it feel like there was a lot of aggression, a lot of big hits. So it was good. I really liked it. At the end of the day, I was kind of surprised. I thought they were going to go with Omega. They went with Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho goes over Kenny Omega. So whenever they do their championship fight, I don't know if that's next month at All Out, it's going to be Chris Jericho versus Adam Page. Adam Page, highly athletic, very good, really good in the ring. So I think that'll be an excellent match. And the big surprise of the night was after everything's done, Chris Jericho grabs the microphone. He's like, "You guys owe me a thank you." Jon Moxley comes out. Jon Moxley, you know from WWE, is Dean Ambrose. We all knew that his contract was going up. Next thing you know, there he is in AEW. And so Jon Moxley comes out, Dean Ambrose. He hits the finishing move, DDT that he has, whatever they're going to call it now, on Jericho. Then he does it to the referee. Then he's going to deliver the DDT to Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega pushes him out through the ropes. They have a brawl that leads toward the back all the way to the stage. They have this thing set up to look casino style. They got some big fake casino chips, but really big. And so they get on top of that. Jon Moxley hits Dirty Deeds onto those big stack of chips that they're on. And then he throws Kenny Omega off the stage. And that's kind of where they leave it. Moxley's done, he's standing tall, and that's it. So, it was really, really a good pay-per-view, honestly. I didn't know what to expect. I had high hopes because I knew some of the talent that was coming in, and I knew that they were amazing. And they were. It was a really, really damn good show. It was crazy good. So at the end of the day, to grade this, it was not perfect. There were some issues in commentary, and there were actually a couple of camera angle issues, but it was nothing big. The show itself was very good. The performances were amazing. And I really like what they did with pretty much every match. I mean, like I said, I don't know a lot of the names, and there are a lot of names that I'm just not familiar with. But at the end of the day, like the matches where I did know people, I got what I wanted for sure. So I'm going to give it a very strong 9 out of 10. Maybe a 9.5. No, you know what? I got to go 10. I just do. I think with the effort they put into this and, you know, what they were trying to, I got to give it a 10 out of 10. I do. It was a spectacle, and the matches were crazy good. You know, they're a very young company. They haven't been on TV at all. They've had one pay-per-view. So, I mean, I got to call it like I see it. And I see big things in the future for these guys. I really do. Yeah, I was going to give it a 9 out of 10 just for like the minor things. But, you know, when you think about it being so new to this, and they probably have a lot of new production crew and all of that, and man, it was still amazing. It really was. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to give it that 10 out of 10 because I feel like they earned it. So it was an amazing pay-per-view. All the matches landed. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you think this means for the competition for WWE. We all know WWE right now is where it's at. I mean, you know, they are the big name in wrestling. But it would be nice to see somebody give them some real competition. So ladies and gentlemen, that's where I'm at. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Sorry it's so dark and my voice is kind of gone, but, you know, hell, it is what it is. Yeah, hit the like button, subscribe, share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz. Kaged Nation, out.